in the entire state.
Now, is that 4.5% or 440?
That's 0.454, so it's
1/2%?
a little less than 0.5%.
Well, it's unfortunate for the town, but it's good for the taxpayer.
Yes. Especially those that are gonna get that value reinstated. Any questions? I did provide Robert, and he can hand it out later, the last report that was in the front of your book was our newsletter. And every month as we print that newsletter, it changes the last paragraph. It gets you closer and closer to the end of the year and what's really happening. So it's a more current report. Nothing that I do is confidential, so you can feel free to share me with your friends and neighbors or whoever you'd like. Thank you for your time, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, Robert, what is that? So in relation to our budget, what is that, what is this doing to us? Is it saying we're right on?
Well, yes, we're right on, and we're being, as far as when we project conservatively is in anticipation. We had no idea with the 9% we had last year that this was gonna take place again this year. We meet with the county lets us know, as Paula says, in July is when the tax rolls come out. So there's adjustments also that they apply to our tax rolls, so they don't let us know until probably November when we're already into the fiscal year, how we're gonna turn out as far as property security and security. So for us, it's good because we only get 1% of that assessed value. We have to keep that in mind. Again, the tax can only increase up to 2% CPI. We already did have that in this 13-14 fiscal year. As Paula just alluded to, this next year is going to be 0.045 is the CPI adjustment. So it's all going to be driven based on assessed values, properties being sold, new properties. So going into next year, we got a base estimate of what would be 6.6 million in secured and unsecured property. So we're going to continue to be conservative as far as projecting. We're not going to anticipate it to be continuing to grow like we did the last 2 years. We're going to think maybe a little bit of a slowdown. I think next year we'll have our peak, just as was mentioned, that we'll have our peak value will reach finally. And I think that's what we've been talking about too, is we'll get to a point where this is going to be the max, and we can't anticipate the continued growth every year from year on out. So we'll continue to monitor it, and we're happy just like the rest of the county is, as you saw. The county was at 5.4% as a whole. We were at 9%. Foster City was 9.2%. So we'll continue to monitor that, but we'll be fiscally conservative
But we didn't budget 9%, did
No. We did 3% off of what we received, that would be actual of what we did receive.
we? Why isn't the number she's showing 6% better than what we budgeted?
Because we don't get that whole, of the growth, the whole 9% growth, that whole 9% doesn't come completely to the city, because the way it's broken out, the different tax rates. So we don't get that full amount. Again, a lot of it has to do with the different tax rates. Every property here in this town has different taxes assigned to it, whether it's if you're in Sequoia School, Mammal School, you pay certain areas, they pay certain tax rate areas. So we don't get the full amount. So that's why when we budget, we do an estimate of 3% over what we received this year. That's conservative. I mean, we could go.
And that was a 6.2, maybe?
Actually, it's 5.4 million. At mid-year, we adjusted it based off of the property tax, secured taxes, when it was 5.3 million up to 5.8 million at mid-year because of our communication with the county.
And now it's up to 6.2, is that what you're saying?
With the combined secured and unsecured at 6.2. So 5.8
But
is
is the council
secured.
aware of this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We communicated that to them at mid-year budget last council meeting.
All right.
I can just say one thing before I leave. The assessor won't sit down with cities. However, if you've got someone that you know in the assessor's office, and there's any question you can ask them, the question is, are you going to be implementing something similar, more than, or less than the properties you did last year? Similar, we can nail the number.
Right.
More, you know that you're conservative, less, you gotta cut back. And so, it's a very simple question, not asking them to quantify,
Right.
just give me a ballpark here, guys,
Mhm.
and that may serve you well.
And they've been very, the assessor's office, along with the controller's office, work hand in hand. And so we get information from the controller's office, who works with the county controller's office, who works hand in hand with the assessor's office. And they attend our meetings. We have a Santa Claus meeting this Friday, and the county will be there again, and we'll be discussing the outlook for next year.
Who's we?
It's the San Mateo County Finance Officers. We meet every once a month, and we invite San Mateo County Controller's Office attends, sometimes the Assessor's Office attends. So we have good communication as far as what's going on, what to expect, because we're all in the same boat as municipalities and cities. Everybody's wanting to know what to expect property tax wise. And some cities, unlike us, have commercial real estate, a lot of commercial properties, not just residential. So everybody's kind of wondering what to anticipate these next couple of years, and if we're in a rebound, or is this something that we have to just start slowing down?
The big question that comes across their table is ERAF.
Right.
Every year, ERAF is a huge discussion, whether the state's gonna take that away, and we're gonna not receive what we budget.
We keep putting it in the budget.
Well, we do, and
Paul, if you want to leave, thank you very much for your
appreciate it. We do budget ERAP, but last year we made this concerted effort to budget less than what we actually get. So last year it was 700,000. What we budgeted, we ended up getting almost 900,000 in ERAP. So we budgeted 700,000 this year. We ended up getting $1 million. But see, ERAP is something, that's our version of the white elephant. That's probably eventually will go away. And ERAP will probably go away only because the state will change the funding formula requirements for schools, for school districts. And when that goes away, we're getting $1 million. There's San Mateo's, they're getting a couple million, they're getting like $3 million, $4 million. If that goes away completely, that can really be a
$1
detriment.
million spread out of our operation.
For us too, $1 million away, and then that can really hinder us as a city. So that's something that we take conservative approach, and we have ongoing discussions. Eventually, we think that that's something that the state will.
Was Brown
Take away
talking
from
about
us.
it all in his current budget?
Every governor talks
Yeah.
about it.
No, but does he have any change in there?
Oh, yeah, they always do.
Yeah.
They get a lot of pressure not to touch it. It's a sacred cow, don't touch it, you're out. There's only 3 counties in the state that actually get money back.
Yeah.
3 counties with the jurisdictions within them, Napa, San Mateo, and Marin. So we tend to be very quiet in
Yeah.
that discussion and not call attention to it. But the more things change, and the more the school funding comes into play, the more it becomes a target. of the
San
state.
Mateo, Moran, and who else?
Napa. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Should we go on into item 5, the investment policy?
Yes. Get my report together. Just want to kind of give you a background. We're returning with the investment policy with recommendations that were discussed at our November meeting. We engaged the advice of Cutwater. They are our asset manager as they serve for our investment portfolio. They're in attendance to go over the proposed policy and also go over our investment portfolio review for the town. As was mentioned in the staff report, there's 3 items on the investment portfolio, investment policy that we kind of looked and we took upon us as far as changing. One is the federal instrumentality. No more than 25% of the town's total portfolio shall be invested in any one instrumental issuer. As in discussion with Cutwater, they view that this is somewhat of a conservative approach, but that's something that we did put in an investment policy that might take further discussion. But we feel we put that in there as far as what we decided in November. Medium-term notes, we changed it to put that no more than 5% shall be invested per issuer. And also for negotiable, non-negotiable certificates of deposit, we recommended that no more than 10% of the portfolio should be invested into CDs. And just like we decided that we would also follow the FDIC insured of $250,000. So that would be the max we would invest in the CD, that for insurance purposes. So that would be the limit. And also the staff is requesting that the report would be submitted quarterly rather than monthly. And with that being said, also the attached is our second quarter treasury report as of December 31st. The total investments for the town is $23,709,000. Of the total amount, $11.3 million is listed as non-restricted. So, and that may be used for that is the amount that's used for available spending. Majority of that $11.3 million is the general fund, which is about $8.3 million. With that being said, I'd like to bring Cutwater in here to discuss our investment portfolio, and also I handed out earlier the actual binders, and in there is also at the end is our investment policy.
Just want to give me one.
And with us today is Dave Whitcomb. Dave Whitcomb from Cutwater Asset Management. And Gay, how do I say your last name? Aisha. Gay Aisha.
Yeah, between the two of us, our last names aren't the easy.
Not a double A.
A lot of extra H on there. Well, thank you, and thanks for having us. We typically annually do a little bit of an overview, a little bit of an economic overview of what's going on in the economy, and then go in and take a look at the portfolio and see how that's doing. In the packages, we have, under tab number 1, a little bit of general economic information. I'm not going to belabor the entire overview on what happened last year, but I will say and will point out that on the last second page of that overview is probably what I see as the most important